exactly that we all are here or assembled. This tradition was started by Dulamani sir and some of the seniors in this IRMS. So what we are just following their footstep, nothing else, or nothing, no contribution from our side. So he was just telling as a elder brother. But anyway, I think following his footstep and taking blessings of our Guru Maharaj and his priest Pandapram Prabhuji. In the same mess, we used to assemble in every Saturday class, and today, I think we'll try with your association to discuss some of the verses from chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, that is Dhyan Yoga. So maybe some of the points our Dayashil are also maybe adding at the end. But let us first read, and today we'll try to read one section as Sri Pandapatan Prabhuji also instructed, so that we'd read the section. The section actually it is being continued from last class. So the Lamani Sir or Dayashil Prabhuji was taking. So it started, this particular section is from 6.28 to 32. And this particular section, it specifically explains about the perfection of yoga. And what is the perfection of yoga? It is to realize the super soul. Okay. So because it's Dhyana Yoga and a process of, this Ashtanga Yoga process is being spoken about, but also I think in very beginning verses 6.3, Srila Prabhupada he spoke about Bhakti Yoga and its superiority in his purport. So both should go side by side, but specifically focuses on Ashtanga Yoga and how a Krishna conscious devotee, a devotee who is performing Bhakti Yoga is much superior, considering to other yoga practices. So that also will be an illustrations in the verses. So as in last class, Dayashil Prabhuji has taken 6.29, and they are just to connect to our today's verses. So today we shall try to cover this section, maybe 32 with all of your association. So in 29, what was basically spoken about as this section, 6.28 to 32 is the perfection of yoga. That means really realizing the super soul, and in that also some subsection we have. So 6.29 to 30, it specifically focuses on the vision of a perfect yogi. So a yogi who has perfected, in his yogic process. So what is his vision? That will be basically discussed, and already 6.29 has been discussed there. And we have seen in 6.29, just if you can refer the translation of 6.29, it says that a true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So, this is the vision of a yogi who has perfected, situated in Dhyanuga, and he has perfected. So what he sees the super soul's presence, so it is being speaking about that it sees the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere and also see that everything is situated in the Supreme Lord. So this was just, 6.29. So, but today we shall start with 6.30 and continue till 6.32. So, first, I think I would recite, and then I would request from IRI, our team, so that one or two of you can also recite, so we can have the same speed or momentum. Okay, so reading with chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga, in verse number 30. So let us try to recite. Yamam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami Shochamena pranashati. Once again, I'll try and then maybe one or two of you can recite. Yamam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami shochamena pranashyati. So if any two of you can recite also, I think it is visible. And any two of you can recite. It not necessarily Dayashil Prabhuji and Ganesh Prabhuji has to read, others can also participate. Okay, so then we can proceed with. Yeah, I think you are trying, but voice is not louder. So
यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्यां न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति.
would anyone else? One more can try.
यो मा पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति.
Yeah, so it is Pranashati. The last word is Pranashati. We will try to read the word by word meaning so that it will be clear. And once again, you can also read. Yaha means whoever, mam, me, Pashyati is sees, Sarvatra, everywhere. Sarvam, everything, Cho and Mai in me. Pashyati sees. Tasya, for him. Aham is I. Na, not. Pranashyami, am lost. Sa, he. Cho also, me is to me. Na, nar, and Pranashyati is lost. So try to read the translation. You can also read, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So maybe once again we'll try to read this translation and further move. So it's saying, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So it's a progression in the yogi process. So an yogi who has perfected, in previous verse we have seen that he again was seeing Supreme Lord's presence everywhere, and also everyone is somehow dependent to the Supreme Lord. So he is dependent, he or she is dependent to the Supreme Lord. And now in this verse, it is spoken that such a devotee who has seen or realized that the Supreme Lord's presence is everywhere and perfected in such a way that he will never lose now the sight of the Supreme Lord. So he will now remain, he will see the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere. So he has perfected in such a way that he never lose his sight from the Supreme Lord. And in turn also the Supreme Lord will also not, leave his focus from this particular yogi, because both are peermost. So from purport it will be much more clear. uh, Purport will read purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So you also please read with me and we'll try to discuss. So purport says, a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. So, what is basically it is telling this particular two sentences, as we have seen from the translation also, that one who has perfected in this yogic process, so his sight will never go away from the Supreme Lord. But here, about two yogis it has been spoken about. One is, of course, the Ashtanga yogi who is meditating on the super soul, and also the superior yogi, as in Bhagavad Gita, many verses it has been spoken that a Krishna conscious person is superior, or Krishna process of Krishna consciousness is simple and practical rather than other methods of yogic practices. Although there may be very little other yogis practicing Ashtanga yoga and other process. So here that is why it started with a Krishna conscious person, a bhakti yogi, a person who is practicing the devotional service. It has been spoken here. So a Krishna conscious person like you all are trying to follow this path, coming to the mass and practicing chanting, worshipping. I have seen some message in the group also that in chanting session also I think many of you are joining. So it's a process of Krishna consciousness. Ashtanga yoga process is much more difficult, as we have seen, if you can recall in previous verses also, sitting in different postures and then controlling the breathings, and it is little bit difficult, but the process of Krishna consciousness is very much practical. So a Krishna conscious person also who is pure and who is perfect, so what he will see Lord Krishna everywhere. So it's we are speaking about vision of a perfect yogi, right? So what is his vision? He sees Lord Krishna's presence everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. That means whatever is sustaining, either spiritual or material, the source is Lord Krishna. So that means everything is dependent on the Lord Krishna himself. And such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. So, a Krishna conscious person or a person practicing Bhakti Yoga also sometimes may seem that he is acting like other, persons, other common persons, and it may seem also that he is performing all his duties, material activities like eating and doing job, everything, but whatever things he is doing, he will relate it to Krishna's service. So that is, there is a difference between a person who is not Krishna conscious or a person who is not uh, mm, performing the yogic process, and a person who is performing the yogic process. So there is a clear cut difference. Whatever a Krishna conscious person will do, he will see it in relation with the Supreme Lord, but others in vice versa, it is the different thing. Okay, so a non-Krishna conscious person never see this aspect. So this is the perfect vision. This is the perfect vision of a yogi who is practicing Krishna consciousness, or maybe who has perfected in Ashtanga yoga and practicing Dhyana yoga. But again, we'll read further. So I think it is in third sentence. So you can follow me. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Of course, a Krishna conscious devotee, although he will do every other activities like occupational duty as well. You are doing your study, and Dulamani sir is teaching maybe some of the classes. But from maybe from other teachers or other students, you are different in a sense that you are relating to everything to Krishna service. Prabhuji will tell in classes, many classes he is told that a Krishna conscious person will relate that why I am doing this job or occupational duties, or why I am studying. This is because of that I have to attain the perfection. I have to follow the path of Krishna consciousness, purify myself, and also let others purify in this path. So their aim is different. Although they are earning money, they are studying, but their aim is something different. That is aimed to serving the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that is how this vision is different from a normal student or other people. Okay, so a Krishna conscious person is different in this way. Now, Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. Okay, so you see, Krishna consciousness, what is that? It is developing for love of Krishna. It is speaking about. Okay, so it's a very higher stage, but initially may not we may not have that pure love towards Krishna. But as this verse is specifically speaking about a perfected yogi who is perfected in the path of Krishna consciousness, they have genuine love for Krishna. Okay, and they even do not bother about liberation like other transcendentalists they will think for. So they just think for serving the Supreme Lord Krishna and also helping other people. So that is their main motto, so that others also can excel in the path of Krishna consciousness. Okay, so at this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. I think you can follow me the sentence what we have read. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self realization. So in 6.28, we have read about, and Rashil Prabhuji, he spoke about also what is self-realization. Self-realization is first to identify that I am the soul, right? So one identifies oneself as the soul, and then he connects with the Supreme Lord, knowing that there is a Supreme Lord and the soul has a relationship with the Supreme Lord. So when this process starts, so self-realization first start with identifying the real self, that is the soul, and then when further progresses, then one will connect with the Supreme Lord, uh, rendering devotional service, and he will progress much more. Okay. Then only this loving devotional this loving service will start. So first self-realization process, like other Brahman realization or maybe other connectivity issues. Can you hear? I
Yes,
think
Prabhu, yes.
maybe okay. Yeah. So what we are speaking in this case, that a Krishna consciousness, when one is much progressed in the path of Krishna consciousness, then that time one will not think about only the self realization that I am the soul, but beyond that, what one will do, or beyond that situation, what a devotee will do. Here it is being told that one becomes one with Krishna. Now, one with Krishna, it is not that like one merges with Krishna, like Brahman realization and other things. One can never merge with Krishna, but one with Krishna means his aim is in direction with what Krishna wants. Means Krishna wants that somebody should render loving devotional service unto him, being a child of his. So in that direction, one will think about, and then one will render the loving service. So this is what. Okay, so further maybe further we'll move, and then some more clarification we can get. So an intimate relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. So further once progresses, so there will be intimate relationship. So then one cannot stay away from performing devotional services, not staying away from rendering, not chanting and not coming to perform morning programs and all those things. So there will be intimate relationship. Like suppose being a student, if you have developed a good relationship with your teacher, like one teacher who teaches very nicely in the class, so you have developed a respect and love for him, so you never misses that classes, particular classes. Like that also, A devotee or Krishna conscious person who has perfected and developed love for Krishna, so gradually he will develop a intimate relationship for the Supreme, and he will never, go back from this relationship. Okay, so to merge in Krishna in spiritual annihilation, a devotee takes no such risk. So there is a difference between other yogic process with Krishna consciousness process, as in this verse particularly discussed about. That as we have seen, maybe you have heard also, that Brahman realization, some of the people they want to merge to this Brahman, निराकारवादी जो कहते हैं, वो चाहते हैं निराकार में लीन हो जाए, हाँ. But Krishna conscious person is aware about that fact कि वो temporary है. वो जो ब्रह्मन रियलाइजेशन या ब्रह्मन में मिल जाना, ये टेम्पररी स्टेज है. दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट perfect stage. So a perfect devotee or Krishna conscious person, getting marched to that Brahman. Okay, so they are beyond this concept. They are beyond this concept. So it is stated in the Brahma Samhita. You can read, if we can together read. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilakayanti yam shyama sundaram achinta gunasvarupam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotees whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shyam Sundara, situated with the heart of the devotees. So this is the state of a perfect devotee. So he sees Supreme Lord's identity as two-handed Sam Sundara, beautiful Sam Sundara, and he always concentrate. Within his heart, always he will meditate, and always he recalls about the Supreme Lord. So not thinking about merging on the maybe Brahman, but he further goes, he progresses, and he wants to perform the loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, and always thinking about the beautiful Samsung, the robe of the Supreme Lord. So this is a case of uh, Krishna conscious devotee, or a devotee who is performing devotional service. Devotional service, as we spoke about, hearing, chanting, like you are doing, hearing from Bhagavad Gita and chanting also, and sometimes worshipping also, coming to the mass. So this is what gradually it will lead to a state beyond the state today we are. Okay, so one day also, by hearing and reading and performing devotional service, we also can develop love towards the Supreme Lord. So that can happen. So this is what actually is emphasizing in this verse. One more paragraph we'll read. So what specifically, again, if we recall, that a perfected yogi, he never loses the sight of the Supreme Lord, and that is being spoken throughout this particular verse, that one has developed love toward the Supreme Lord. So always he recalls the Supreme Lord's presence, and everywhere he can see the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere, whether he is working, whether he is doing any kinds of work, but he relates everywhere the Supreme Lord's presence. So this is what is very much glorious, right? And last paragraph of this particular verse, so you can see, at this stage Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose the sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. So इस particular verse में यहाँ पे जो बताया गया है two differentiation is there. You can read. Okay. So one is speaking about Krishna conscious devotee. So two kinds of yogis are being spoken. One maybe one who has perfected in Ashtanga yoga, and another one is a Krishna conscious yogi. So in both the cases, what will be their vision? Because both of them have perfected. So a Krishna conscious devotee, for him, the Supreme Lord's presence will never be disappeared from his eyesight. And even the Supreme Lord also in turn in love with this particular devotee. So this is a personal relationship for a Krishna conscious person, a person who is rendering devotional service. There is a personal relationship because he thinks Lord Krishna is the person, and this relationship is going on. So that particular devotee will not lose his sight from the Supreme Lord Krishna. On the other hand, a yogi, if we speak about this Ashtanga yogi or one who is performing this Dhyana yoga, the other yogic process, for him also the same status is reached. But difference is that for a Krishna conscious person, he is thinking, or he can see Supreme Lord as the 200 Shyam Sundara form, as we have seen, as Lord Krishna. And other yogi, what they can see the Supreme Lord's present as Paramatma. So that is two different, just the differentiation, but the aim is same. Okay, aim is same to for self realization and going beyond. So it has been spoken here that even though such a yogi who is trying for Paramatma realization and he is perfected, so what he will do now? He further moves and towards performing pure devotional service. So that is a step by step process. As Ashtanga Yoga, there are different steps: Yam, Niyam, Asan, and then going to Samadhi. And in between there is also Dhyan, and then Samadhi. Okay, so there are different steps, 8 steps. So if somebody wants to perform Ashtanga Yoga, like previously it used to happen when people used to live for many thousands of years, so that time it was possible. Now also some people may try, but getting perfection is very difficult, because we have seen in previous verses, controlling the mind, dragging it from the sense objects, it is very difficult. But that is why the Krishna consciousness processes come as a boon to us. Why it is a boon? Because it's not a mechanical or artificial process. You are in other yogic process, what you are doing, you are trying to drag back the senses mechanically or forcefully. But here, automatically, you are engaging your senses to the Supreme Lord service, like you are chanting. So automatically, your thought process will not go some people are doing outside or outside this room while you are chanting or worshipping. So automatically, you are connected with the Supreme Lord. So this is how by connecting, you are getting disconnected with the outside world. So that is a different thing. So, but still, a Paramatma Vadi also, if he is perfecting, or if he is uh, going towards perfection, then what will happen? He also will develop this pure devotion towards the Supreme Lord gradually, and he will also not able to drag back his eyes from the Super Soul or Paramatma. So it's a beautiful things here. We can see that whatever yogis may be, but if they are perfecting, so gradually the aim remains the same. It becomes the same, and gradually they wants to remain connected in whichever form they are worshipping. But although Krishna consciousness is the easiest and topmost and practical also, because we are relating with the deities. In Paramatma, maybe you have to think about within the heart, so maybe it becomes difficult, thinking about. But for a Krishna conscious person, you can see the deities in our mass also coming. You can see the deities worshipping there. So you are more personally connected, and gradually this love can be developed. So this is what actually is spoken about in this 30 verse 6.30, that if a person has perfected in the process of yoga, then what will happen for him? Gradually, he will develop such a affinity towards either Paramatma, if he is a Paramatmavadi, or for a devotee towards the Supreme Lord. So that love is non-detachable. Now his eyes will not go away from the Supreme Lord. Every time, whatever action he is doing, starting teaching, whatever practice is doing, and so such a person will always remain connected to the Supreme Lord. So this is a glorious position, and by remaining in this state, what will happen? One will remain always happy, because the Supreme Lord is the pleasure potency. Okay, he is the reservoir of happiness and peace. So that is what actually a yogi who has perfected, he realizes. So once again telling that maybe those Ashtanga Yoga process is difficult, but Bhakti Yoga, you can see it is practical. So as we all are connected and trying to, so in this way we can develop love for the Supreme Lord. Remain what you are doing, being a student or teacher, whatever you are doing, but then you always connect with the Supreme Lord. Okay, that this is the creator of the Supreme Lord, and whatever intelligence I have got, I am contributing to the science or whatever, but that should be leading towards the service of the Supreme Lord. Okay, and influencing your friends also, so that they can also join, and ultimately you can see the difference that you can feel. At least for my time, after this class used to happen in Saturday, so at least for these 2 hours, I used to be totally detached from outside world. So whatever tension, stress, no stress, tension at this moment. At least you can feel, some of you those who are attending these classes, and after that also you can apply it your day-to-day life, and you can feel that happiness at least. Okay, so moving towards the next verse, should we move towards the next verse? If somebody is feeling little bit sleepy, so you can have some water. Yeah, so not an issue. You can tell others also drinking some water. But I think this is very relishable purport. Even though we are not realized, but by seeing their state, that how they are in love with Paramatma and Supreme Lord, so at least we can test their feelings. Okay, so this way we can remain connected. Well, so next verse, let us move, because this is a section, and Prabhuji told that if we can read complete these verses. So not much, 2 more verses we'll try. So next verse we will read. I hope you have all of you have the books, right? So you can read the next verse also, 6.31. Okay, so now see 6.29 and 6.30. What was speaking about? It was speaking about the vision of a perfect yogi. It was speaking about the vision of a perfect yogi. And now 3.1 to 3.2, it will speak about the actions of a perfect yogi. So first, what was his vision? He could see everywhere the either super soul's presence or Supreme Lord's presence. So that is what his was his vision. But now he will start acting. So suppose you also have taken some courses and then passed, and you liked that course very much. Then what will be your action? You will try to tell your junior, ये कोर्स तो बहुत अच्छा है, ये टीचर भी बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हैं, तो तुम ले लेना इसको अगले सेमेस्टर में। जूनियर आके पूछते हैं ना कौन सा कोर्स लेना चाहिए, तो आपको एक्शन करने का मूड होगा। तो जब आपको विजन परफेक्ट हो गया, आपको अच्छा लग गया एक चीज, then you will try to act upon that. So now once the vision is perfect through perfecting the yogic process, now what actions perfect you will perform. So we'll see in 31, reciting maybe together once and then individually. Sarvabhutasthitam yamam bhajati ekatvam asthita sarvada vartamanayati sayogi mai vartate. Once again I'll try to read. सर्वभूतास्थितं यमं भजति एकाद्वम् स्थिता सर्वदा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते. Anyone again, if you want to recite from IRI team, so that your sleeping mood also will disappear. Little bit, maybe anyone of you can read. May not everyone, but anyone volunteer.
सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजयत्येत्मास्थित सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, so at present, maybe I am not recalling all of your name. Gradually, we'll learn each other. So anyway, this is Sarva Bhuta Stitam Yamam Bhujati Ekadvam Astita Sarvata Vartamano Api Sayogimai Vartate. So what is the word by word meaning? Sarva Bhuta Stitam, situated in everyone's heart. Yaha, he who, Mam is me, Bhajati serves in devotional service, Ekatvam in oneness, Asthita situated, Sarvata in all respects, Vartamanaha being situated, Api in spite of, Sahi Yogi the transcendentalist, Mai in me, and Vartate is remains. So translation you also can read, translation by His Divine Grace. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So maybe once again we'll try to read. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So maybe you can get a little bit clue from this translation, but then further we'll try to read from the purport. So, but as we are speaking about actions of a yogi who has perfected, now what he will do in these particular two words, he will speak first. He has seen in previous verse, such a yogi has seen Krishna's presence everywhere, right? He related everything to Krishna. Now here, once he has related everything to Krishna and have seen Krishna's presence everywhere, now what he will do? He will try to worship and serve uh, serve the either super soul, or if he's a Krishna conscious person, then the Supreme Lord. So it will be his actions. What actions? Previous verse, he realizes the supremacy of the Lord and presence everywhere. Now here he starts worshipping. Okay, so this is his action. Once he understood, now he will start worshipping because he is in love with that particular, you know, rupa of the Supreme Lord, and therefore he wants to worship now. So this is what is spoken in this verse. Now from purport it will be much more clear. So every one of you kindly also participate in reading the purport. So purport by His Divine Grace. A yogi who is practicing meditation on the super soul sees within himself the plenary person of Krishna as Vishnu with four hands, holding conch shell, filled club, and lotus flower. So of course here Ashtanga Yogi has been spoken about. Okay, who is practicing Dhyan Yoga and perfecting. So what he will see, we have seen in previous verses also that such a yogi will see the Paramatma feature, okay, sitting in the heart. So most of the people will speak about in general Paramatma, आत्मा और परमात्मा बारे में तो सब लोग ही बात करते हैं, ठीक है ना. कुछ भी हो जाता है तो बोलते हैं परमात्मा जाने, परमात्मा का ऊपर छोड़ दीजिए, ठीक है. तो मैक्सिमम लोग यही जानते हैं. लेकिन यहाँ पे हट के कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस थोड़ा सा है कि और प्रैक्टिकल है, तो उसमें हम सीधा सीधा पर्सन का बात करते हैं, कृष्णा का बारे में बात करते हैं, ठीक है. बट एनीवे अष्टांग योगी also he is glorious. Once he has seen he has related the super souls or Paramatma's presence everywhere. Now he will start meditating on the super soul, and he can also visualize. Now the super soul is also a form of Vishnu, right? Although direct not Krishna, but it's an expansion of Vishnu. So there are different expansions of the Vishnu. Lord Krishna is the supremost, and from him there are different, incarnations and expansions that happens. Okay, so there comes Vishnu. There are three Vishnus basically: Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Karamadakashayi Vishnu. Maybe in later chapters details will come, but for just for relating with what such a Vastan Yogi will do, he will see Paramatma as as Lord Vishnu, and who is he? He is the expansion of the Supreme Lord. So that is why also Paramatma Buddhists are also considered as who are progressed yogis compared to those who are behind Nirakarvadi और जो the Brahman realization का पीछे वो करते हैं, प्रयास करते हैं, उनसे ये लोग बहुत बेहतर है, क्योंकि ये लोग भी जो है परमात्मा फीचर को मानते हैं और ये विष्णु फॉर्म को समझ पाते हैं कि ये कृष्ण का विष्णु फॉर्म है। बट स्टिल वो जो वर्शिप है तो वो डिवोटीज कैन दे ओनली वर्शिप इन 200 फॉर्म एंड पर्सनल फॉर्म ऑफ द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड। Okay, but as we are speaking about both the yogis, so in continuation, the yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. So such a person, when he perfected even a Ashtanga yogi also, gradually he will develop kinds of knowledge that he will know that uh, that Paramatma is none other than the Vishnu, who is the expansion plenary portion of Lord Krishna. So that he can show. Krishna in this form of super soul is situated in everyone's heart. So such a devotee is also very much glorious because he can see in everyone's heart Krishna's Krishna's presence, not directly but indirectly, as the super soul. So such yogi also can see the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere in everyone's heart. So that is why जो लोग थोड़ा सा ट्रांसेंडेंटल बात में आगे बढ़ जाते हैं, उनका हिंसा और अंदर में जो होता है ना कि नेगेटिव थिंग्स इट विल रिड्यूस डाउन, और यही तो हम सबको चाहिए, इसीलिए हम लोग इस चीज को पढ़ रहा है। ठीक है ना, अगर हमारा अंदर से नेगेटिव चीज चला जाएगा, हिंसा चला जाएगा, तो कितना बढ़िया हो जाएगा, आप पूरा टेंशन मुक्त हो जाएंगे, किसी को मारना पीटने के लिए सोचना ही नहीं पड़ेगा। नहीं तो अगर हमेशा मारपीट के लिए सोचेंगे, बाहर निकल के किसको मारना है पीटना है, हाँ, तो उसके लिए बहुत एनर्जी भी जाता है, और ये नेगेटिविटी जो है हम लोग को बहुत इफेक्ट करता है। तो इसलिए हम लोग को बहुत अच्छा बनना है। अच्छा कैसे बनेंगे, यही कृष्णा बता रहा है भगवत गीता में कि आप बहुत अच्छा बन सकते हो, आप हो ऑलरेडी अच्छा एज ए सोल, बट अब भूल गए हैं तो उसको दोबारा रिवाइव करना है। यही बात यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है। ठीक है, तो अगर हर किसी का हृदय में वो सुपर सोल का प्रेजेंस देखेगा तो किसी को मारपीट का बात ही नहीं करेगा, वो किसी को नीचा ऊंचा दिखाएगा ही नहीं, सबको समान दृष्टि से देखेगा, और क्या होगा कि सबका प्रति उसका समान भाव रहेगा। ठीक है ना, सो दैट इज व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड एक्चुअली टू रिमेन पीसफुल और हैप्पी। यही हमें चाहिए, हम हमेशा इक्विलिब्रियम में रहना चाहिए। इक्विलिब्रियम आप जानते होंगे साइंटिफिक टर्म्स का, तो हमें ज्यादा ऊपर नीचे होना नहीं है, इक्विलिब्रियम में रहना है। That is what is spoken. So we'll further read. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. So such a person also knows that जो 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 different living beings है, हर लिविंग बींग्स में सेम सुपर सोल रहते हैं। जो सुपर सोल है उनका क्वालिटी सेम है, तो सेम जो विष्णु फॉर्म है वही हर किसी का हृदय में रहते हैं। तो इसीलिए वो डिफरेंशिएट नहीं करता है, किसी को छोटा बड़ा नहीं सोचता है, हिंसा नहीं करता है, क्योंकि और दैट इज रियलिटी। कोई मान ले बड़ी बात है, नहीं माने तो भी रियलिटी तो है ही, इन एवरीवन्स हार्ट ही इज प्रेजेंट एज परमात्मा, राइट। Okay, so nor is there a difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the super soul. तो यहाँ पे जो दोनों को लिंक करके बता रहे हैं अभी, जो डिवोशनल सर्विस करते हैं, जो भक्ति योग करते हैं, और जो दूसरा योगी है, उसमें भी एक हम लोग कॉमननेस देख सकते हैं। क्या कॉमननेस है दोनों का? प्रीवियस वर्ष में भी हम लोग देखे हैं कि a Krishna conscious person, he always remains in loving service to Krishna as supreme person, and those who are perfected yogi, they also engaged in meditation on the super soul. तो दोनों में ये भेदभाव नहीं रहता है. Okay, so that's how there is a commonality. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. That is what we have spoken also a little earlier, that why the Krishna conscious person is glorious, even though he is working, even though he is performing his day-to-day activities, but he always remain connected with the Supreme Lord, thinking that everything should be utilized for the Supreme Lord service. And this is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also. Srila Rupa Goswami, he said, okay, Nikhilasya api avastashu jivan muktasya uchyate. A devotee of the Lord, always acting in Krishna consciousness, is automatically liberated. In the Narad Panchavatrika, this is confirmed. So you can read with me. Dikkaladi onavachinne Krishna cheto vidyacha tanmaya bhavati shikram jiva brahmaniya jate. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. So this is just a understanding of this verse, that when who is situated in transcendental loving service of the Supreme, so that person attains happiness or that happy state, he always feels rejoices. Okay, and because he remains in transcendental association with him. और ये पॉसिबल है, हम लोग के लिए भी पॉसिबल है कि हम लोग अगर चैंटिंग करते हैं, चैंटिंग जपा करते हैं, so that is also a state of remaining in transcendental association with the Supreme Lord. Also hearing, जैसे अभी हम लोग, और रीडिंग ऑल्सो, जैसे भगवद गीता से आप लोग पढ़ रहा है क्लास में, हम लोग मिल के सुनते हैं, so that has the same effect. This is transcendental, message is transcendental. Okay, that is why you are getting transcendental association with the Supreme Lord. So Krishna consciousness is the highest state of trance in yoga practice. So this is what the most glorious, as we are speaking about how Krishna consciousness is highest in yoga practice, because this very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. तो अगर हम ये देखते हैं कि कोई योगी हर जगह परमात्मा का प्रेजेंस देख पाते हैं, तो वो फॉल्टलेस होता है, मतलब दूसरा का अंदर में फॉल्ट ढूंढेगा नहीं कि ये छोटा है, ये बड़ा है, इनमें ये फॉल्ट है, तो वो क्या होगा, फॉल्टलेस हो जाएगा. So that is how he remains in transcendental state. Okay, the Vedas confirms this inconceivable potency of the Lord as follows: Eko apisan bahuda yo bhavati. Although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts as many. Similarly, in the Smriti Shastra, it is said. So, just understanding of this particular line, that although we have seen that Vishnu's form is that this Paramatma. So, even though this Paramatma is present in many living entities' heart, it is actually the same, because he is the Lord Vishnu. So, there is no difference between the Paramatma situated in your heart or my heart. So it's same, qualitatively also same. Okay. So the words, what is said? Eko eva para Vishnu sarvavyapina samsaya aishwaryat rupam ekam cha suryavat bahudhayate. Vishnu is one and yet he is certainly all pervading. By his inconceivable potency, In spite of his one form, he is present everywhere as the sun appears in many places at once. तो ये जो बहुत आगे बढ़ चुके होते योगी है, तो ये देख पाते हैं इस चीज को. He can realize the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere, like the sun is sun rays is present everywhere, or the sun can be seen from many places together. तो ऐसा ही वो देख पाते हैं. So that is why such kind of persons are being spoken as very enlightened, क्योंकि वही हम डिस्कशन कर रहे थे, उनका अंदर में कोई भेदभाव नहीं है. ठीक है. And that is the reason he sees everyone's heart, Paramatma is present. और ये भक्ति को what we will see, Lord Krishna only, his expansion only as Vishnu form, as Paramatma, he is residing in everyone's heart. Okay, so that is why everyone will try to render the service to him. Dayashil Prabhuji, we have around, I think, 5 minutes more. So what to do? If you permit, we can read through fast the next parts so that we can move this section.
We
Otherwise,
can have some question answer from
okay.
the participant.
Okay.
We can have some
Yeah.
question answer.
Yeah, sure. So question answer, or maybe your realization also. Who knows? You have realized something great, and we can practice. Yeah. So, like you all are in association with Dulamani sir, so I also have followed
No,
whatever.
let them
so
ask some question if they want.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want some clarification, we can discuss, or maybe the Ashal Prabhuji also can get up. आप लोगों को कुछ है मन में जो हमने आज डिस्कशन किया है, उसमें से अगर कुछ जानने का है, then you can please ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, please. I think you are muted, or I'm not getting the voice.
मैं पूछ रही थी कि जैसे इसमें है ना कि कृष्णा सब में है, लेकिन उसके बाद भी हमें दूसरों में दोष क्यों दिखता है? मतलब हम लोग को ये रियलाइज किया होगा कि कृष्णा सब में है ताकि हमें दूसरों में दोष ना दिखे.
यस, तो बहुत ही अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. ये हम सब लोगों में है, चाहे हम इनिशियल स्टेट में है, हम लोग इस प्रैक्टिसिंग पार्ट में है, तो हम लोग को तो दोष दिख जाता है. तो इसीलिए जो है ना, जब चैंटिंग भी करते हैं, और इस पर में स्पेसिफिकली इसीलिए बताया जाता है कि दूसरा में दोष को देखना नहीं चाहिए. तो पहले तो ये प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये आदत है ना, बहुत सालों का आदत है. बचपन में से हम लोग खुद को ट्रेन किया है, दूसरा को कैसे नीचा देखना है, कैसे दोष निकालना है, देखना है. तो ये थोड़ा आदत बन चुका है. So what we have to do is we have to practice gradually, and that also will come from, as you are chanting. I hope you are chanting also every day. So महाप्रभु, इसलिए जो चैतन्य महाप्रभु वो लॉर्ड कृष्णा ही है, कलयुग में अवतरित हुए थे, और वो कह रहे थे कि जो है अगर चैंटिंग करते हैं तो हमारा जो भी नेगेटिव चीजें है, सिंस है, पाप है, वो धीरे धीरे कम होते जाएगा. अगर बहुत जब कम होगा तभी हम लोग सबको इस स्टेट में देख पाएंगे, क्योंकि हम लोग इस बात में जो बात कर रहे हैं ये बहुत मतलब डेवलप्ड स्टेज में है. ये योगी लोग जो है बहुत डेवलप्ड स्टेज में है. बहुत इनिशियली ये शायद पॉसिबल ना हो, लेकिन बाय प्रैक्टिस also they have perfected, right? But in Krishna consciousness there is a provision that if we chant together, gradually this effect will remove all the sinful tendencies or all the negativities, negative thoughts from others, from our heart, and it will gradually help us realize Supreme Lord's presence everywhere. अभी तो हम theoretically ऐसे ही सोच रहा हो कि कृष्णा हर जगह प्रेजेंट है, लेकिन अगर वो सोच रियलिटी में होता तब तो फिर हम गाली नहीं देते ना. जैसे मान लीजिए, मैं थोड़ी देर पहले बताया था कि कोई टीचर है जिनको आप बहुत रेस्पेक्ट देते हैं, बहुत अच्छा टीचर है क्लास में, उनको कभी गाली देंगे ही नहीं, कि हर दिन आप उनका बिहेवियर देखते हैं, सुनते हैं, उनसे बातचीत करते हैं, तो आप एक रेस्पेक्ट डेवलप किए उनका बारे में, तभी जाके आप उनको गाली नहीं देंगे। कोई नेगेटिव बोलेगा भी तो भी बोलेंगे इतना अच्छा टीचर है क्यों बोल रहा है। So somehow that is what also in this state actually we have not developed that much respect and trust toward the Supreme Lord, क्योंकि ये थियोरेटिकली हम लोग सुन रहा हूँ, लेकिन जिस दिन उस एक पार्टिकुलर टीचर का तरह जिस दिन बहुत रेस्पेक्ट देते हैं, उसी तरह हम लोग समझ लेंगे कि कृष्णा हमारा वेल विशर है, उनका अलावा कोई भी उतना वेल विशर नहीं है इस दुनिया में। तो उस दिन हम लोग धीरे धीरे क्या करेंगे, उनका प्रेजेंस हर जगह दिखेंगे, तब लगेगा उन्हीं का ही तो क्रिएशन है, वो भी जो बंदा है वो भी उनका ही क्रिएशन है, जो भी क्रिएट किया है सारा उन्हीं का ही क्रिएशन है। तो क्यों किसी को गाली दे भाई, अगर कोई गाली दे भी दिया तो खुद सुन लो, नहीं तो उनसे दूर हट जाइए। तो ये बहुत मतलब आगे जाके होगा, बट इफ वी प्रैक्टिस आई थिंक वी कैन डेवलप, एंड फॉर दिस दिस एसोसिएशन इज रिक्वायर्ड। आप अगर सेम मेंटालिटी का ग्रुप में रहे थे, चाहे यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं, हमारा ग्रुप में दुलामनी सर है जो टीम को लीड कर रहा है, वो आपको हमेशा पॉजिटिव रहने के लिए हेल्प करेंगे, और ये आपका मेटेरियल लाइफ में भी बहुत अच्छा काम देगा। आपको अभी लग रहा होगा कि भाई टाइम बर्बाद हो गया क्लास में आके, लेकिन ये जो कृष्णा बोल रहे कि इटर्नल है बेनिफिट, ये कभी खत्म नहीं होगा, हम मर भी जाएंगे तो खत्म नहीं होगा, लेकिन बाकी डिग्रीज, कुछ पेपर पब्लिश किया, जो भी किया सारा खत्म हो जाना है मरने के बाद, ठीक है। तो इसीलिए रिमेन इन एसोसिएशन विद गुड पीपल। गुड पीपल मीन्स जो लोग कृष्णा कॉन्शियस है, भक्ति को प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, जिनका ट्रस्ट है भगवान के प्रति, उनको अगर हम हमेशा देखेंगे तो हम लोग का मन में भी एक दिन आएगा हाँ भाई कृष्णा हर जगह है, और फिर हम किसी को गाली नहीं देंगे, ठीक है। होप इट आंसर्स लिटिल बिट। या आवाज थोड़ा नहीं आ रहा है सही।
जी हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
यस हरे कृष्ण प्लीज।
अ, प्रभु जी मुझे ये पूछना था कि गीता में बताया गया है कि कर्म फल को मतलब मन से निकाल के हमें कर्म करना चाहिए, भगवान को मतलब मन में रख के। लेकिन अगर कोई किसी का कोई लक्ष्य है तो उसको कैसे मतलब मन में रख के भी उससे अटैच ना होके मतलब कैसे कर सकते हैं? मतलब
बहुत अच्छा है।
अगर किसी का गोल है कुछ तो
एग्जैक्टली।
उसको, हाँ तो कैसे कर सकते हैं?
ओके बहुत अच्छा है, ये हम लोग अक्सर पूछा करते थे प्रभु जी को, और दयाश्री प्रभु जी को भी इनिशियली हम बहुत बार पूछे हैं ये सारी चीजें, ठीक है। तो या द क्वेश्चन इज वेरी मच वैलिड। लक्ष्य अगर है, एम है, तो भगवत गीता में कृष्णा ये तो कहीं नहीं बताया अर्जुन को कि अपना ड्यूटी छोड़ दीजिए, नहीं बोला है। थर्ड चैप्टर में क्या बताया उनको, अर्जुन बोल रहा था अभी तो हमें युद्ध करना नहीं है, अपना लोग के अगेंस्ट में आप कैसे बातें करते हो, उनके साथ फाइट करेंगे, अपना गुरु में मारना है, मरेंगे क्या, उनको मार के हम खुद मरेंगे क्या। लेकिन कृष्णा बोले नहीं नहीं, दैट इज योर ड्यूटी। तो आपका अगर एज ए स्टूडेंट जो ड्यूटी है, जैसे कोई एग्जाम को लिखना है, ओके, कोई असाइनमेंट दिया टीचर उसको करना है, तो ये तो आपका एक टाइप का छोटा छोटा लक्ष्य है कि भाई इस क्लास में दिया, अगले क्लास में असाइनमेंट जमा करनी है आपको, तो ये तो करना पड़ेगा, बट दैट इज ए ड्यूटी। एक्चुअली यू हैव टू थिंक दैट टीचर ने दिया, ये मेरा ड्यूटी है, कर्तव्य है, ठीक है ना। लेकिन हम ऐसा पीछे नहीं पड़े कि मतलब यही सब कुछ है, यही सब कुछ है मतलब क्या है, जैसे आपने बताया कि अटैचमेंट नहीं रहना चाहिए उसके प्रति। अटैचमेंट इन द सेंस खाली हम यही करेंगे, अब असाइनमेंट दिया तो उसका पीछे ही पड़ा रहा दिन रात, लेकिन आप टाइमली अगर फोकस करके टाइमली उसको ऐसे ड्यूटी बाउंड समझ के कर लेंगे, तो ये ड्यूटी का प्लेटफॉर्म में चला जाएगा। और आपका मन में जिससे आप धीरे धीरे जैसे प्रैक्टिस करेंगे कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, तो आपका मन में सारा कुछ आएगा, ठीक है भाई मैं ड्यूटी जो असाइनमेंट भी बना रहा हूँ, और इसका मतलब ये है मेरे को डिग्री लेना है, डिग्री लेने के बाद कुछ जॉब पाना है, ठीक है ना। तो वो तो लक्ष्य है, वो ड्यूटी करते हुए आपको उस लक्ष्य में पहुंचना है, लेकिन एम रखना है कि भाई अगर मान लीजिए अभी सब लोग इकट्ठा बैठकर चैंटिंग करते हो, वो करते सन मिल रहा है, और जॉब मिल जाए तो उस दिन आप भूल जाए कृष्णा को, अरे चलो कोई नहीं यार गुण है कृष्णा तो, ठीक है ना। तो उस टाइप का कंसेप्ट नहीं रखना है, तो अभी से माइंड में यही रखना है कि ये मेरा ड्यूटी है, लेकिन ड्यूटी का जो लक्ष्य होगा आगे जाके नौकरी पाना है या जो भी करना है, डिग्री लेना है, इसका उद्देश्य ये होना चाहिए कि हम लोगों को ये जो बताया गया है, भगवान जो बता रहा है उनका प्रिंसिपल को फॉलो करने के लिए जो भी सुविधाएं चाहे उसको तो हमें चाहिए होगा, डिग्री चाहिए, जो भी चाहिए, ऑक्यूपेशनल ड्यूटी को नहीं छोड़ सकते हैं हम, लेकिन उसको करते हुए माइंड में रहना चाहिए कि ये कृष्णा का सर्विस के लिए है। ठीक है, और भी दोस्त दोस्त को बताएंगे, ठीक है भाई तू अपना काम भी कर, ये तेरा ड्यूटी है, ये पढ़ना है, तेरे को टॉपर बनना है, अच्छा से असाइनमेंट बनाना है, ये करना ही है। लेकिन एम ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि टॉपर बन के दूसरा किसी को नीचा दिखाया, दूसरा किसी को गाली दिया, जैसे उन्होंने कहा कृष्णा सब जगह है, दिख नहीं पाते। लेकिन उल्टा होना चाहिए, नहीं भाई सब कृष्णा का है, तो जो है किसी को नीचा नहीं दिखाएंगे, हम अपना ड्यूटी करेंगे, लक्ष्य तो प्राप्त करेंगे जो भी है, लेकिन अल्टीमेट उसका जो अल्टीमेट जो होगा ये होगा कृष्णा का सर्विस के लिए। हम जॉब भी पाएंगे तो कृष्णा का सर्विस के लिए ही करेंगे जो भी करेंगे, और लोगों को भी उसमें इन्फ्लुएंस करेंगे। ठीक है, सेटिस्फाइड लिटिल बिट इज नॉट, आई थिंक दुलामणि सर और ऐड कर सकते हैं।
हाँ प्रभु जी।
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। Anything else from anybody, or otherwise maybe we can hear from Dulamani Prabhu ji also, कुछ understanding, कुछ points maybe.
Manish Prabhu. Thank you, Manish Prabhu, for giving your valuable time. Really, it was enlightening for all of us. I mean, from the basic to higher perfection stage. So we expect similar more session in future also. So I hope all you agree. So it's like it's not like you are teaching or I am teaching, but it is sort of understanding the things for our own benefit, our day-to-day benefit. And whatever you spoke about that, whatever facilities one should have, one should utilize for the service of Krishna, and one should study well, keeping focus about the Supreme Lord, how he can serve. So you are a perfect example of that. For us also, for me also, you are a source of inspiration. So we expect similar more session so that we can have whatever doubt we have day-to-day life, we can have some clarification how actually we can practice in day-to-day life. And as I read about your biodata, it's like revealing everything, that it's not like only practicing the Krishna consciousness, but similarly for excelling in our studies also. So all of whoever is the participant, they really
Prabhuji, I think Prabhuji, I won't accept these points, yeah, क्योंकि आप ही लोगों से सब कुछ सीखा है, और मैथ्स में आप लोग जो भी आप लोग बैठे हैं, ये हमारा दुलामणि सर और उनका कुछ ही लोग थे, गिने चुने थे जो मैथ्स को स्टार्ट किए थे, बाद में हम लोग आके ज्वाइन किया और उसका फायदा उठाया है। अभी भी हम लोग फायदा उठाते हैं, मैं जब भी आता हूँ तो आके टाइम करता हूँ तो फायदा तो उठा ही लेते हैं हम लोग, लेकिन कल्चर अलग है क्योंकि कृष्णा वहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं। ठीक है ना, तो आप जब भी आते हैं दोपहर में, सुबह आते हैं, आपको वो एनवायरनमेंट ही आपको कुछ बदल देगा, आपका सोच को, जब उनका दर्शन करते हैं। तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट यही है कि हम लोग सब फ्रेंड जैसा ही है, वैसे हम लोग मैस में बैठ के उस टाइम संग में बैठते थे, सब लोग डिस्कस करते थे, तो अभी थोड़ा दूर हूँ तो तुम प्लेटफॉर्म में हूँ, बट एनीवे आप लोग हर दिन आइए, और इसको आप जब अप्लाई करेंगे तो आपको पता लगेगा कि कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है ये चीज़ है, ये हमारे लिए बताया जा रहा है, इसमें और किसी के लिए नहीं है। पीस हैप्पीनेस चाहिए तो किसको चाहिए, हमें ही चाहिए, और हम ही इससे भाग जाते हैं। एक दोस्त बोलती है क्या भाई इस उम्र में ये सब कर रहा है, जब बूढ़ा हो जाओगे करोगे, अरे भाई कोई गारंटी है काल तक बचेंगे करके, तो आज ही क्यों ना हम हैप्पीनेस को प्राप्त कर ले। हैप्पीनेस और पीस को जितना जल्दी प्राप्त करोगे उतना अपने लिए बेनिफिट है, तो चाहे दुनिया कुछ भी बोल दे फर्क नहीं पड़ता। और मैं एक 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 लास्ट एक चीज बताऊंगा कि यहाँ पे जैसे हम डायरेक्टर हो, हेड हो, सबको प्रयास किया कि उस बारे में बोलने के, एटलीस्ट डायरेक्टर तो बहुत पॉजिटिव है, तो उनका टेबल पे भी रखा हुआ है गीता, तो जब मैं जाता हूँ तो कुछ ना कुछ वही रिलेट करके बोलते हैं, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट होना चाहिए, वर्क एनवायरनमेंट भी। ठीक है, तो आपका फ्रेंड्स में बीच में आप ये सर्कल बना के रखिए, मैस में आइए और उसका बेनिफिट लीजिए। ये आपको अभी नहीं समझ आ रहा है तो एक दिन बहुत समझ आएगा कि क्या मिला है यहाँ से। ठीक है ना, जो पैसा भी नहीं खरीद के दे सकता, ये हैप्पीनेस और पीस तो पैसा भी नहीं दे पाएगा। तो इसीलिए यू प्रैक्टिस एंड काइंडली चांट द होली नेम, and then you will relish gradually, you will feel definitely this happiness. So with this and with permission of Dayashil Prabhuji, Dulamani sir, so maybe I would stop
Yes, thank you, Manish.
session here. So yes,
For the session, we'll wind up here. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you.